Got some updates here on Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man who was mistakenly deported to an El Salvadorian supermax prison intended for terrorists and very violent people. And the Trump administration is doing every single thing it can to not make this man come home, and is playing footsie with words to basically give themselves an out to not do every single thing in their power to bring this man, who they already admitted was mistakenly deported, back to the United States of America, where he belongs. But before we look at that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who's into politics, and comment down below. Let me know what you think about this story. So let's head on over here. We got NPR. Article says the Supreme Court says Trump officials should help return wrongly deported Maryland man. The Supreme Court has ordered the Trump administration to facilitate the return to the United States of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. In a brief, unsigned decision issued Thursday, the court sided with a district court judge who had ordered Abrego Garcia brought back to the U.S. The order properly requires the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and to ensure that his case is handled as it would have been if he had not been improperly sent to El Salvador, the Supreme Court said in its ruling. The decision was a rare win for those challenging the administration's deportation orders, but also left several key specifics unanswered for right now, which the Trump administration has pounced on, using as an opportunity to play footsie with words and not do everything in their power, like I said earlier, to bring this man home. But before we look at that, let's look here at Donald Trump's post on Truth Social, where he says, "Looking forward to seeing President Bukele of El Salvador on Monday. Our nations are working closely together to eradicate terrorist organizations and build a future of prosperity. President Bukele has graciously accepted into his nation's custody some of the most violent alien enemies of the world, and in particular the United States. These barbarians are now in the sole custody of El Salvador, a proud and sovereign nation." So here is Trump calling everybody that's been deported to El Salvador barbarians, although Abrego Garcia has not committed any crime whatsoever, not in El Salvador, not in the United States. And in fact, there was a order issued by a judge in 2019 that said Abrego Garcia is not to be deported to El Salvador because of threats to him that would occur if that was to happen. And what did we see Donald Trump's administration do? They brazenly deported this man directly against a court order to El Salvador under, not even under the Alien Enemies Act, which they used to deport others, but they still have the gall to characterize everyone being deported as barbarians. A man legally here in the United States with a wife and kids who was mistakenly deported, and the Trump administration has admitted that was a mistake, for him to be deported in the first place, is a barbarian. Absolutely disgusting language to use by the President of the United States about American citizens. Now we'll look at Trump's spokeswoman, Caroline Leavitt, talking about the Supreme Court order and totally playing footsie with their wording.
Real quick, the president of El Salvador is coming to the White House on Monday. Does President Trump want him to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia with him?
The Supreme Court made their ruling last night very clear that it's the administration's responsibility to facilitate the return, not to effectuate the return. I believe the Department of Justice just filed another brief in the lower court. I would defer you to that for any updates. But as you mentioned, President Bukele will be here at the White House on Monday to talk about the cooperation that is at an all-time high. And we very much appreciate President Bukele and El Salvador's cooperation in the repatriation of El Salvadorian gang members who the previous administration allowed to infiltrate our country. Sure.
Thank you very much, Chair.
As you saw there, Levitt says, well, they told us to facilitate, not effectuate the release. So we'll see what we can do, basically. No, this is a mistake you made. You made this mistake. Any other administration right now would be bending over backwards to rectify this mistake and bring this man home, as it was not due to anything that he did illegally that got him deported. Rather, this is falling solely on the administration and solely on a mistake that they made, which again, they've already admitted to making this mistake, but still they want to drag their feet and play footsie with the definition of words. And even worse than that, the DOJ is continuing to argue that there's no mechanism and that courts have no authority to demand deported people come back to the United States. So let's go over here to Mediaite. DOJ argues courts have no authority to direct Trump to bring home Maryland man wrongly deported. Attorneys with the Department of Justice filed a brief on Sunday arguing that a federal court has no authority to direct Trump or his administration in bringing home wrongly deported man Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and should reject a request filed on his behalf by attorneys last week. The court should deny plaintiffs' requests for further relief. The brief filed by the administration reads, the relief sought by plaintiffs is inconsistent with the Supreme Court's instruction requiring this court to respect the president's Article 2 authority to manage foreign policy. The brief was filed in response to the request by attorneys for Abrego Garcia and his family that the court order Trump and the government to take specific actions towards the return of the Maryland resident who was wrongly deported to El Salvador, where he is a citizen. He has legal permission to reside in the United States, where he's lived for 14 years after coming here illegally. His wife and 3 children are American citizens. State Department official Michael G. Kozak filed an update Saturday on Abrego Garcia's status, writing that he is, in his understanding, based on the official reporting from our embassy in San Salvador, that Abrego Garcia is currently being held in the terrorism confinement center in El Salvador. He is alive and secure in that facility. He is detained pursuant to the sovereign domestic authority of El Salvador. So they're giving us this update here saying, okay, yeah, don't worry. We're doing everything we can. Don't worry about it. He's alive. He's alive and kicking over there in El Salvador. But it's like every single minute, every single second that this man spends in a supermax detainment facility intended for violent criminals, people who are not nice people, right? And this man himself has not committed any crime or done any crime against the United States or any citizens in the United States. And the administration has admitted that this was a mistake for him to be deported. And he's just chilling there with all these other gang members and criminals. And they want us to basically just be satisfied that they're saying that he's alive. I mean, come on. Imagine if this was Biden's administration, or imagine if this was somebody who looks and has a different name than this man. And what I mean by that is, imagine if this was a white person, an attractive white person who comes from a white family. Imagine the hell that MAGA would be causing if Biden was president and this was a white person that was mistakenly deported, and Biden's administration, or any Democrat for that matter's administration, said, oh yeah, we mistakenly deported this person and they're in the El Salvador supermax detainment facility, but don't worry, we're working on it. Don't worry. And we're not really sure if you can actually even tell us to bring back this person that we admit we mistakenly deported. But we'll get around to it. I mean, there would be absolutely hell to pay for any Democrat who is saying that, as there should be. And the fact that there's not hell to pay for this mistake, this administrative error in terms of Abrego Garcia being deported is very telling. And, you know, the El Salvadorian president, as Trump said there on True Social, he's in the White House, I think now, literally as I speak, as I'm recording this video, 10:25 a.m. Mountain Time on the 14th of April. I think that the El Salvadorian president is in the White House right now, and you would think that if Donald Trump actually cared about the rule of law, if Donald Trump actually cared about all American citizens, as he is supposed to do, as he was elected to do, he would be doing every single thing he can during this meeting to bring Abrego Garcia home, or to pressure the El Salvadorian president that, hey, we accidentally deported this guy. We want him back. It was a mistake. My bad. But no, what do we have here? We have Donald Trump calling all people deported to El Salvador barbarians, when in fact people are being deported to El Salvador that haven't committed any crimes against the United States. That's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and share with someone who's into politics. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.